Now we move to a story that we have been monitoring very closely. The impasse between the interim board and the sports minister on one hand and the members' council on the other. To help us understand this complicated situation is Dr. Stavros Nicolaou. Good evening, Doc, and welcome to Sport on Full View.
Good evening, and thanks very much for having me on your show.
Let's start off with the deadline that was set for last week Thursday at 6 p.m. by the Sports Minister Natim Tetwa. Was that met? And if not so, what are the issues that the Minister was not happy about?
Yeah, I think firstly, just to respond appropriately, we should make mention that the issue at stake here is the interim board, which has a specific lifespan, implementing a 9-point mandate that was presented to it by the minister. The minister had to intervene at a point in time because, for example, the Nicholson recommendations, after 9 years, had still not been implemented. And top of the list of those 9 points of our interim board mandate was the implementation of the Nicholson recommendations, which would also restore governance back to cricket and would set cricket on a new governance pathway. Fundamental to Nicholson's recommendations and to any governance discussion in the country is an independent majority board in the first instance, and secondly, an interim, an independent chairperson to chair the board. After various attempts, we could not reach agreement between the interim board and the members' council as to those core fundamental principles, and it involved the minister mediating the situation. And last Friday night, in a meeting that the interim board, the members' council, and the minister were present, there was a breakthrough, quite a substantial breakthrough, in that we heard from the president of the members' council that both of those fundamental principles had now been accepted.
All right, so it was met, the deadline was met, and there was a resolution.
Well, there's a resolution in that those two fundamental principles have been accepted by the members' council, which, as I said, is tremendous progress. However, this still needs to go to a special general meeting. That special general meeting is set down for this Saturday, in 3 days' time. And of course, to give statutory effect to both Nicholson and also modern day governance, it will require a special resolution to be passed by the members' council, who are the voting members at the general meeting. They are required to vote by way of special resolution, which means you have to get 75.1% or more of the members' council members agreeing to this. And if we get that agreement, it will forever change the course of cricket in our country. It will restore a lot of confidence domestically and internationally. And as I said, it will restore public confidence back in the game. So Saturday is really an important general meeting. It's a special general meeting. And we're really hopeful that the Memorandum of Incorporation giving effect to this will be passed by a special majority.
Okay, so you have at least expended on the time frame, but can we maybe talk about and thrash about what actually are the issues of contention here? What are you not really seeing eye to eye on?
Well, I don't think it was a case of not seeing eye to eye. This is an interim board. It has a very specific purpose. It's not a permanent structure. It's a structure that was put into place by the minister because various attempts amongst the previous board and members' council had failed. There was an attempt by SASCOC as well to implement these changes. These attempts all failed over 9 years, and unfortunately the game suffered, and both public and international confidence in Cricket South Africa was significantly eroded. So the minister was left with no choice other than to put into place this interim board. So the key points of difference here and there have been a number, but the two fundamental ones are the two that I've just covered. The principle of an independent board is widely accepted anywhere in every part of the country and the world, and it should be no different in this instance. So I'm really hopeful that we have crossed that bridge now, and I guess the final test here is going to be Saturday. Saturday, if we get a special resolution passed, I think we forever change, positively, forever change the course of cricket in our country.
All right. And you have alluded to this, time is an important factor. So when does the period of the interim board end, and when will a new board be elected?
So the timing of this board's tenure is imminent. It's, of course, dictated to by the special general meeting, which, as I said, is on Saturday. And hopefully, the special resolutions are passed. That will give effect to a nominations committee. That nominations committee would then be responsible for selecting independent and non-independent directors, and those directors would then be put forward at an annual general meeting, as is a normal course, for election and appointment at an annual general meeting. So I think the lifespan of this board, or its tenure at very least, is imminent. Okay. It's not just this one point we had to consider. It was a 9-point mandate. We've made significant progress in all 9 areas, which include other aspects like the social justice initiative, transformation, the domestic restructuring of the game, and many other aspects that constituted the mandate. And finally, this board will present both all the work that it's executed on and implemented to the minister at the annual general meeting.
All right. And another area of worry is, of course, the finances, because, cricket has lost an unacceptable amount of money over the last decade because of not implementing the aspects of the 2012 Nicholson report. So what are the plans of changing the bank balance at CSA?
I think, firstly, the COVID year certainly hasn't helped. We've seen a cancellation of a number of tours. I mean, notably, the England tour was pulled halfway through. And then, of course, we saw much against our disagreement as to why it didn't take place, but nonetheless, the Australian tour, which was a big tour for us, didn't take place. Of course, this affects advertising rights and income from advertising and various other revenue streams that ought to have happened that didn't. So that picture certainly hasn't helped either. But I think once you've got an independent board in place, you will be able to, in the first instance, attract new sponsors and or other revenue generation streams, because you will restore confidence. People are only going to invest in a game or a business or whatever the case is if they have confidence. So I think an independent board, implementation of this 9-point plan that constituted the mandate, will go a long way to boosting revenues in future. And then, of course, secondly, in terms of managing and controlling expenses, operating expenses and otherwise, again, an independent board with proper functioning board committees such as audit and risk and finance committees will go a long way to re-establishing the financial viability and credibility of the organization. Of course, what I should just add is the end objective here is that we settle down cricket, we have proper governance and sustainability in place, and that we move the media spotlight away from the boardroom back onto the players, which is where it should be. The media coverage and the focus should not be about what goes on in the boardroom. The boardroom is an enabler for the players and the game. So ultimately, if we leave in a couple of days' time as an interim board, having achieved that, where we shift the narrative away from the boardroom back onto the playing field and the players, we hear about all these wonderful achievements of our cricketers, that will be an ultimate achievement for this interim board.
All right, thank you so much. We will definitely be monitoring closely what happens on Saturday. And that is, of course, Dr. Stavros Nicolaou, who was just giving us insight on the situation of the 2012 Nicholson report and where it stands between the interim board, the members' council, and, of course, the sport ministry. That is where we wrap it up from the sports desk this evening.